Hi, favorite teacher. I'm Tori from Next Day Teaching, where I give you classroom management tips and strategies that you can use tomorrow. Today, I want to talk to you about my favorite bathroom procedure for grades 6 through 8. That's right, we're talking middle school. So here's what I've seen in most classrooms. The teacher's teaching or leading a discussion, asks a question, several students raise their hand, teacher calls on one. But instead of answering that question or providing a meaningful contribution to the discussion, the student asks, "Can I go to the bathroom?" The teacher says yes or no, and the student either leaves or gives a sigh of frustration. Now, this is a problem because pausing to address student bathroom questions derails the class. It means that you have to stop teaching. It means that you have to pause the discussion and then get everyone else back on track. Class periods are short enough as it is. You can't be taking 30 seconds per kid per class. There's half your instructional time gone already. Also, it puts the responsibility on the teacher to be constantly looking around for students who have raised hands who might need to go to the bathroom. Let's say that you're giving them an independent assignment or they're doing group work, and if you aren't constantly scanning, constantly available to them, you're going to have the inevitable student who says, "Oh, I've been raising my hand forever. Why can't I go to the bathroom? You never called on me. You need to go to the bathroom." It also puts the responsibility on the teacher to keep track of who's next, because inevitably there's a domino chain where one student goes, then while that student's out of the classroom, another student asks, so you say, "Okay, when Stuart comes back, then you can go." Then another student asks to go, and you're like, "Okay, well now we're 3 back." You have to keep track of that. You have to remind them, because certainly they're not going to keep track of it, right? And that's a lot of responsibility on you, especially with middle schoolers who are ready for some independence. So I want to suggest a better way. You need either a whiteboard, like a medium-sized whiteboard, a piece of your regular whiteboard at the front of class, or if all else fails, chart paper. Whatever you use though, it should be big enough that students in the back of the room can see. Because what you're going to be doing is as they're coming in, as they're getting settled, they're getting their supplies out, they're doing their bell work, whatever you have them do at the start of class, as part of your normal beginning of class routine, aside from greeting students, collecting homework, taking attendance, you're also going to make your way over to this board with a marker, and you're just going to sort of scan the classroom. Now, this is how it's going to work once you have everything set up. Of course, you're going to need to teach this and explain why you're standing over at the side of the room with a marker, looking at them like they should be doing something. What you're doing is you're looking for students who are raising their hands, who are asking to go to the bathroom, just not right this second. They're saying, "Sometime in this class, I would like a bathroom break." So as you're looking, you're writing down their names. All right, we got Stuart and Jimothy. I'm totally making these names up. And Ava. All right, so now you're done with this. You've got no more hands up. You've taken attendance. The first 5 minutes of class are done, and you're moving into whatever you normally do next. Stuart's name is first. He goes to the bathroom. Just goes, because he's first. Now, he still signs out. He still fills out the Chromebook form or signs out on paper. Whatever system your school or classroom has in place to keep track of students, still keep doing that. All right, we're not changing that. But Stuart doesn't need to ask, "Can I go to the bathroom?" He just goes. When Stuart comes back, if this is a dry erase board, he's going to erase his name. If it's not, he's just going to draw a line through it. And now it's Jimothy's turn. So Jimothy doesn't have to ask. He doesn't have to raise his hand and say, "Hey, Miss Teacher, can I go to the bathroom now?" He's next in line. He just goes. Then when he comes back, he crosses off his name. It's Ava's turn, and so on until all of your students are done or until class ends, whichever comes first. Now, this works really well because it shifts the responsibility to the students. So I can already hear some of you saying, "Well, wait a minute, what if they're not paying attention? What if Stuart comes back, he erases his name, Jimothy, it's Jimothy's turn, but Jimothy's messing around with his friend. He's not paying attention. All right, so then we skip him. It's a natural consequence. Sorry, buddy, you weren't paying attention. Middle schoolers are ready for that level of responsibility. So then Ava goes, and then when Ava comes back, if Jimothy's paying attention, well, then he gets to go. Otherwise, whoever's after Ava goes, and we fit Jimothy in wherever. All right, it's not like elementary school where you have to be the mediator and the monitor for every little situation. This is real world skills, right? If I'm at the DMV waiting in line, they call my number and I'm not paying attention, or if I'm outside taking a phone call, guess what? I get skipped. That's real world. And the older students are absolutely ready for that. Sixth graders might need a little bit more hand holding, but you can be the judge of that. You know your students best. Now, this also works because especially if you teach a class where you use small group conferences a lot, math and ELA, this is really common for you. You can have those small group conferences without needing to constantly be on the lookout for bathroom questions. Sure, you're still monitoring the class for behavior infractions. That's never going to change. But you don't need to be in charge of bathrooms because they already know when they're going. And if they're not on the list, all right, well, we can add you to the end or you're going to have to hold it. This also works because students can see where they are in line. So sometimes students will come in and like the first thing that they'll tell me is like, oh my gosh, Miss Tori, I need to go to the bathroom. I needed to go last class, but my teacher wouldn't let me. We were in the middle of a test and then we had that fire drill and I couldn't go. I really need to go. Can you please put me first? So yeah, I'll put them first. Absolutely. But then students aren't, you never let me go first. You always let him go first. Why do I never get to go first? You are where you are in the list. Patience, also a valuable life skill. Now, as you're writing this list, it gives you a little bit of power. You're sort of front loading your power. You're putting this system in place so that you don't have to deal with possible negative consequences later. So for example, if Stuart and Jimothy are like best friends and they have a habit of goofing off in the bathroom together, maybe we don't put them back to back, just in case Stuart has some wacky idea to do something inappropriate involving the bathroom or the hallway or the water fountain. That way Jimothy's not right after him in line. Also, if you have students who can only go to the bathroom during certain times or certain class periods, you can make sure that they are towards the front or the bottom of the line. Or if you have students that you know take an inordinate amount of time to walk down the hall and use the bathroom and walk back. Maybe you put them at the end of the line so that they're not holding everybody else up. Now, of course, if you have students like that who are taking advantage of it, then maybe they lose bathroom privileges. They don't get their name on the list for 2 days, for 4 days, for a week. I've had that happen. And yeah, they feel it. They feel the pain because they don't get that responsibility that their friends had. Now, as the year goes on, especially if you have older students or students who are just more mature, maybe you've got a class, your sixth period class is really on top of it and they are ready for the next level of responsibility, start handing this off. So instead of it being you up here at the front of the room, writing down all those names, give the marker to a kid. Let them write it down. Let them take the responsibility. Now, sometimes that power goes to their heads. Sometimes they're only writing their friends first, or they're always putting the same people, or maybe you can't read their handwriting. So sure, they can get fired from this job, but giving them that responsibility, first of all, they want it. They want the responsibility. They want to help out. They want to be in charge. And it frees you up to do all the million other things that you have to do at the start of class. So that's a really great way to take this strategy to the next level when you think they're ready. Oh, and one other thing that I've noticed, sometimes, especially your 8th graders, they might raise their hand not because they actually have to go, but because they just want a little break. Now, I taught ELA. It was a double class period, especially at the end of the day. I had periods 9 and 10 back to back. That was such a long day for some students. So I was honest with them. I said, I know that some of you don't actually have to go. As long as you are being responsible, you are making good choices, you're coming back in a timely fashion, fine. Use this as a stretch break. Let it motivate you to stay focused until your name comes up. But if you're taking advantage of it, or if I start getting reports that you are messing around, making poor choices in the hallway or in the bathroom, all bets are off. Your name goes off the list and you don't get this break time. So, just be real with them. But some students, absolutely, they're going to raise their hand and not actually need to go. Do you want to be the bathroom police? No, you don't. Do you have to? Sometimes. That's teaching life, right? So I want to give you a real world example of when I used this. As I said, I was teaching ELA. I had a double class period, and part of our school's requirements was that the first half of class, so that first period, was spent only doing small group conferencing. That's actually where this strategy came from, because when I was doing small group conferencing, I needed my focus to be on that small group. I could not be dealing with constant interruptions of, can I go to the bathroom? Can I go to the bathroom? I want to go to the bathroom. I needed to be actually teaching these students who needed extra support or needed enrichment, or I needed to check in with them. So I implemented this strategy and students loved it. They enjoyed knowing exactly where they were on the list. They liked knowing how many students were ahead of them. I liked that I didn't have to be constantly monitoring for who's raising a hand to go to the bathroom when my focus is supposed to be on supporting this small group of students. So if a student was with me during that small group conference time and their name came up on the bathroom list, they would just get skipped. The rest of the class knew that we had put that into place ahead of time. The next person would go, and then as soon as that student returned to their seat, they would just jump in after whoever was out of the classroom came back. They were absolutely ready to handle navigating and negotiating that. And eventually later in the year, when I had a student who was placed on a bathroom plan who could only go to the bathroom during even numbered class periods, I was able to manipulate the bathroom list and make sure that this student's name was towards the top. So during period 6, as opposed to later when, sorry, you missed your chance, but it's kind of my fault. So I just made sure that that student's name was towards the top of the list, made sure that student always got their bathroom break. Then over the course of the year, several students did lose out on having their names on the bathroom list due to various misbehaviors. And they really felt left out. They really felt like they no longer had the responsibility and the privilege that their classmates did because I had taken this freedom away. Now, if you teach more of a lecture style or a discussion style, this might not be necessary because you are more face-to-face with the students throughout your entire class period. If that's the case and you want a bathroom signal, just a simple, no prep, easy to use, non-verbal bathroom signal, I made a video about that too. I'll leave the link in the description below. It says it's for grades 4 and 5, but it absolutely can apply to middle school as well. I hope you have calm transitions and quiet hallways.